And you get to choose between ambient temperature, which is where this jumper is now, and if you put it on the top 2 pins, it's going to use the signal from the converter that carries dew point temperature. And I think that's pretty much everything. Now we can look at some pictures, actually. This may be one part of this deal that's we want to go separate from the video, but we can look quickly at them. These are pictures of how the clamshells were installed. Tell me if you got a terrible reflection there, Dan.
It's okay.
So these are the 2 PT30s, and you can see why we need the clamshells on, because we're getting frost there back in November. And they're pretty easy to install. The electronics just go towards the dewar more or less, and they're out of the beam without any problem. The other side is a little trickier. So this is actually how the clamshell was installed on the PT13 side. And you see there's the cutout in the shield, and the electronics stick into that cutout. The reason for that is to keep it out of the beam of the telescope. Just a close-up I happen to have of where how the cable is connected. It actually winds up being on the outside of the shield. And okay, so this is the one we were looking at before, which shows a completed front panel, as it were, as it was in Serratololo when I was there in April of last year. I thought there was one more picture. So this is just a general view of how they are installed in Serratololo. Again, taken back in April of last year. Another picture of the installation at Tololo, and I'm going to point out one thing that you want to take care of in South Africa. This is also Tololo, and shows the cutout in Tololo. I didn't make it quite big enough, and so the clamshell at Tololo isn't quite as well installed as it will be in South Africa. And I did want to point out one thing about the Tololo installation that was never really completed on the South Africa installation. You need to put, I didn't get these in order. Bear with me just a second here. This one shows it best. This is a top view looking down on the dewar, and these cable ties here on the insulation are actually fairly important. They pull the insulation up enough that it's tight against the tube that's going to the Cryo Tiger, and that keeps condensation from forming inside the insulation. And I'm pretty sure if you were to look at in Australia, you would see that they're installed. But I see on the pictures that I did not get those cable ties on in South Africa, and they should be put on, because again, it keeps you from getting the insulation wet on the inside, and the insulation doesn't work when it gets wet like a sponge. So can't think of anything else.